Hey everybody, WWGD here of the Pacific Storm Allies Gamers, bringing you another Pacific Storm Allies Sink Them All Strat Chat. This is the series where I talk about different strategies you might use in the game Pacific Storm Allies. So, I actually read a comment in the Pacific Storm Allies Steam group questioning about how to defend a base. I thought this would be a perfect topic to talk about in the next Strat Chat, so here's the video about it. So, the question was, what is the best way to defend a base in Pacific Storm Allies? That he was being attacked quite continually and could not hold a base. Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, there are always times where the AI will be very aggressive and they will launch a very large attack on a base. And sometimes this base is extremely important to you. Now this is even more valid when you take into account the Pacific Storm Allies 1.7 new AI, which are very aggressive. So let's get to the question, and what is the best way to defend a base? Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off by getting myself into debug mode. There we go. And this will allow me to build structures instantly. So we can get into her. Let's go to San Diego, and let's go ahead and take a little look-see. This is Pacific Storm Allies 1.7, so you'll notice that you have no formations at the beginning of your campaign. So early on, this probably won't be a problem for you. However, if you're not playing 1.7 and maybe some other mod, this could be more of a problem early in. Sorry, so let's say that you have a large number of enemies attacking you. You have very little to nothing. What is the best way you can use to defend your base? Well, for me personally, the first thing I always want is I want to put radars at the bases. Right now I do not have radars unlocked in my research, but you know, radars and radio stations are the first things you're going to want to build. The reason for this is this allows you to see your enemy, possibly even before they can see you. So this also will give you added range to your structures. Alright, so the next thing after those are built that I like to build is I like to go again back to defense, build air defense and coastal artillery. We have our coastal artillery already built. The reason for these is if they launch air raids, you can easily defend using your anti-aircraft guns, and if they have ships, you can hold up some defense with your coastal artillery. The next thing I would add in is probably your defense structures. This will allow, this will make it harder for ships to approach you, and it will increase the fighting capabilities of your marines or soldiers that you have on the ground. After this, the next structure I would build would go ahead and build some air raid shelters. This will protect your people from bombs and different shells that are attacking you. So after we have that, I would go for missile installations. Actually, missile installations would be probably part of the late war, and I would probably build missile installations before you build your, before you build up your air raid shelters. So basically, first thing is you want to be able to see them, and then you want to be able to offer some sort of offensive attack, or offensive defense, I should say. Another thing to keep in mind is your enemy cannot capture your base if you have enough troops, or if they cannot defeat your troops that are on your base. So something good to note is maybe having some hospitals will be helpful, and also build up, if you can, your pilot, navy, army, and engineer schools. This will increase the training of your troops and will better their skills on the battlefield, making it harder for your enemy to claim victory on the land. Even if they can claim victory on the sea and in the air, they still have to claim victory on the land. So these are going to be helpful there. Again, also, barracks. Having more barracks allows you to have more people. More people at your base so that you can defend. Alright, so we have all those, and this is the building side of things. So, let's say you've done all your buildings and you're done. Well, let's go to people. You can see here your base, how many seamen, pilots, soldiers, and engineers, and you can also see their morale. Soldiers, or I should say all people with higher morale, equals higher amounts of efficiency. Now you'll notice all the different colors. Each color stands for a different level of training. You can hover over it and it'll show you it'll give you a list of the experiences. I've over time just memorized which is better and which is worse, but you can use this and you can actually see what is the best. One thing you'll want to do is you'll want to make sure the base training is actually turned on. There we go. Base training on. This will allow you to train your soldiers using your schools and your shooting range. I should say you probably want to build your shooting range before your schools. That's just what I do, and I think it's more efficient. So that's the way you have. So this way, you can train up your soldiers. Also, Of course, you can always put ships and aircraft on your base for defense. Probably the best thing for you is, if you are low on naval power, is to put some bombers on this base. Bombers can be very efficient in just taking out some of the heavier ships and making it easier for your troops later on the ground. However, if you also have some navy, then go ahead and put some of your naval units here at the base as well. Another thing you'll want to note is that your coastal artillery, your air defense, and missile installations all take ammunition. Missile installations take special ammunition in the form of rockets or ballistic missiles. So you'll want to make sure that your warehouse is stocked up on the needed ammunitions. Alright, so we have all that taken care of. We've gone over the people, we've gone over the buildings. Alright, so let's go on another one. Let's say you're attacked by a huge amount of troops. You have absolutely nothing you can do, and your base is captured. Alright, it's captured. It's not the end of the world. If you've lost the base and you need to regain it, then, and you realize that this is becoming a problem, that maybe you've lost it multiple times and regained it multiple times, the AI is just continually capturing it, what you might do is you might actually wait. Let them have the base for a period of time until you actually have a force they can capture and then continue to defend it. Now, of course, some bases are just not that important that you don't want to spend all those resources towards. However, if it's a mainland base, such as maybe San Diego or Bremerton or Monterey, I believe that is. San Diego, what is that? Monterey? Yes. If it's one of your homeland bases, you may want to make sure that you have a substantial amount of units that can defend. I like to always have a substantial number of bombers at these bases, because, bombers are very efficient at taking out the enemy's ships. Alright, so let's just say maybe you have an outpost. Like, let's say I'm playing as the United States, which I am, and I have a position here on Guam. You can see right now it's surrounded by enemy territories. How am I going to hold it? Well, if I can't hold it with military, if I cannot hold it with my Navy and Air Force, then the next direct thing I'm going to be looking at is see if I can hold it with my military. And then, of course, you want to have military being your primary and buildings as being supportive of your military. You want to make sure that your buildings can inflict damage on your enemy before they reach the land, so that for them to begin attacking on your army. So that's pretty much all that there is to it. It's just a lot of balancing act. It really is a balancing act that you have to go through to figure out exactly what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. There is definitely a lot of strategy in the campaign, and it's definitely worth trying multiple things just to see what works best for you and what works best in your campaign. Obviously, there are some times where the AI will just be super aggressive and they will launch this major attack that there's no possible way for you to hold. If you cannot possibly hold the base, if you have radars built or scout aircraft and you can see that there's a large group of enemies coming that you cannot possibly hold, I would maybe recommend evacuating that base if you possibly can. That way you preserve whatever resources or whatever ships, men you can, because those might come in hand later for recapturing the base. But also, if you have a base that is very strong and has a large amount of ammunition, oil, and such, and the enemy captures it, well, that all falls into the enemy's hands, and you don't really want to support their combat. So by removing them from the bases, that could be a very powerful strategy as well. Because if you'll notice, some of these outlying bases, their income is not very high. What they might get for it is just really what you have at your base. So by emptying your base of military and resources, you actually could be inflicting harm on them in doing so, because they've pushed their units to this position and they don't have units somewhere else. And that's another thing to note, is if they have a large group of units, over here, well, that's where you have that intel. You know where a large number of their units is, which means that there's more chance that they're not in another vital location, which means you can, instead of actually defending your base, you can let them have a base, but also take one of theirs back. So that's pretty much all there is to say about this subject, and I want to thank that, I don't know how you pronounce your alias, however, but I want to thank you for bringing up that question, because that was a really good question for another Strat Chat video. So thank you for watching. Hopefully that answered your question. If you have any further follow-up questions, please put a comment in the comment section below. If you want to support us and what we're doing, hit that like button, and if you really want to support us, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. I'll see you here, there, or in the air.